Welcome to another explosive episode of Ranting Politics Headline Updates, where we break down the biggest stories shaking up the political landscape. We've got a packed show for you today, starting with the somber news of former President Jimmy Carter's passing at the remarkable age of 100. We'll look back at his extraordinary journey from peanut farmer to president and his incredible humanitarian legacy. Then we're diving into some classic Trump drama as he squares off against federal workers over work-from-home policies. Plus, we've got exclusive details about his transition team's plans for an immediate W.H.O. withdrawal if he returns to office. And stick around as we unpack the latest data on abortion access and trends across America. The numbers might surprise you. Stay with us, because this is the kind of no-holds-barred political coverage you won't find anywhere else. Let's jump right in. Breaking news from Atlanta as former President Jimmy Carter, the longest-living U.S. president in history, has passed away at age 100. Carter's remarkable journey from Georgia peanut farmer to Nobel Peace Prize recipient stands as one of American politics' most fascinating transformations. Taking office in 1977 after defeating Gerald Ford with his famous promise, "I will never lie to you," Carter's presidency saw both tremendous highs and challenging lows. His crowning achievement came with the historic Camp David Accords, where he personally shuttled between Egypt and Israel to broker a peace deal that stands to this day. This diplomatic masterstroke brought Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin together, ending decades of conflict between the two nations. However, Carter's presidency was severely tested by double-digit inflation, soaring interest rates, and the Iran hostage crisis that haunted his final 444 days in office. These challenges ultimately led to his landslide defeat to Ronald Reagan in 1980. But it was after leaving the White House that Carter truly found his calling. As a humanitarian and peacemaker, he built an extraordinary legacy that earned him the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize. Through the Carter Center, he worked tirelessly to advance democracy, human rights, and conflict resolution worldwide. His efforts included monitoring elections across the globe and fighting diseases in developing nations. Carter remained politically engaged well into his later years, often speaking out on controversial issues and maintaining his Sunday school teaching duties in Plains, Georgia. Despite political setbacks during his presidency, he emerged as one of America's most respected elder statesmen, earning widespread admiration for his dedication to humanitarian causes and unflagging moral leadership. His death comes just weeks after losing his beloved wife, Rosalind, his partner of 77 years, marking the end of an era in American public service. Reuters reports the Carter Center will hold public observances in both Atlanta and Washington, followed by a private burial in his hometown of Plains. In a dramatic development that's sending shockwaves through the federal workforce, Donald Trump has declared his intention to end remote work for federal employees if he returns to the White House. The former president didn't mince words at his Mar-a-Lago press conference, calling the recent Social Security Administration's telework agreement ridiculous and very terrible. This comes right on the heels of a 5-year telework protection deal signed by outgoing SSA Commissioner Martin O'Malley with the American Federation of Government Employees. The agreement, which extends through 2029, has become a flashpoint in the ongoing debate over federal workplace policies. Trump's vision is clear and uncompromising. If federal workers don't return to their offices, they'll face dismissal. But AFGE National President Everett Kelly isn't backing down, stating firmly that collective bargaining agreements are binding under law and the union will fight to protect workers' rights. The battle lines are being drawn by Trump's advisors as well. Vivek Ramaswamy, who's set to lead government efficiency efforts, has suggested that requiring in-office work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. could thin out the federal bureaucracy by 25% through resignations. However, the union counters these claims, pointing out that over half of federal employees already can't telework due to their job nature, and only 10% are fully remote. This isn't just about workplace policies. There are significant economic implications for cities like Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, despite being a Democrat, has voiced support for bringing federal workers back, citing the need to restore vibrancy to the nation's capital. Trump's team claims this initiative is part of a broader effort to eliminate hundreds of billions in waste and fraud, projecting potential savings of up to $2 trillion. But with the union preparing for legal challenges and binding agreements already in place, this battle over federal workplace policy is far from over. Now we have intriguing news from the Trump transition team, and this one's sending ripples through the international health community. Sources close to the transition are revealing plans for an immediate U.S. withdrawal from the World Health Organization if Trump returns to office. According to Georgetown University's global health expert Lawrence Gostin, this isn't just talk. It's likely to happen on day one of a second Trump term. This dramatic shift would effectively replay Trump's 2020 WHO withdrawal attempt, which was later reversed by President Biden. The key difference? This time, the groundwork is already being laid, with Trump nominating notable WHO critics to key health positions, including vaccine skeptic Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Services. The reasoning behind this move echoes Trump's previous criticisms of the organization. His team continues to argue that the WHO failed to hold China accountable during the early stages of COVID-19, with Trump repeatedly labeling the organization as Beijing's puppet. The plan would redirect U.S. contributions away from global health initiatives and toward domestic programs. But health experts are raising serious concerns about the potential consequences. They warn that a U.S. withdrawal could severely undermine global disease surveillance and emergency response capabilities. Perhaps most significantly, as Gostin points out, this move would create a power vacuum that China would likely fill, fundamentally altering the landscape of global health leadership. The WHO's current leadership, including Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, has remained diplomatic, emphasizing the need to give the U.S. time and space during any transition period. Meanwhile, negotiations continue on a global pandemic agreement targeted for completion by May 2025. Though America's potential absence from that table could significantly impact its effectiveness. This latest development sets the stage for what could be one of the most consequential shifts in global health policy in recent memory, with implications reaching far beyond America's borders. 2.5 years after the Supreme Court's landmark Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade, we're seeing some fascinating and unexpected trends in abortion access across America. Despite widespread bans and restrictions in Republican-controlled states, the total number of abortions nationwide has actually increased slightly compared to pre-Dobbs levels. The landscape has dramatically shifted in how women access these services. Abortion pills now account for roughly 2/3 of all procedures, up from about half before Dobbs. We're seeing a significant rise in telehealth prescriptions, with approximately 1 in 10 abortions now being facilitated through virtual consultations, even in states where abortion is banned. This new reality has created an intricate web of interstate travel for care. Take New Mexico, where twice as many Texas residents are now receiving abortions as New Mexico residents. Similar patterns are playing out in Kansas, where Texans are matching locals in abortion numbers. While abortion funds have stepped up to help cover travel costs, many are now reaching their financial limits. Florida's recent 6-week ban has completely transformed the southern abortion landscape. The state shifted from being a regional haven to seeing a 35% drop in procedures by June. This change has forced Florida residents to travel an average of 9 hours to reach the nearest available facility in North Carolina. The medical emergency situation has become particularly concerning. Federal records show more than 100 cases where pregnant women seeking emergency care were either turned away or left in unstable condition. These incidents include devastating stories of miscarriages in hospital lobbies and dangerous delays in critical care. Yet amid these challenges, we're seeing a clear pattern in voter sentiment. Out of 18 reproductive rights ballot measures since Roe's fall, pro-choice positions have prevailed in 14. Recent polling shows over 3/5 of voters support legal abortion in all or most cases, a slight increase from previous years. This support crosses party lines, even as voters backed Republican control of Congress and the White House. And that wraps up today's whirlwind tour through some of the biggest headlines shaping our political landscape. From the passing of President Jimmy Carter at 100, marking the end of an era in American politics, To Trump's bold plans for federal workers and the WHO, to the evolving story of reproductive rights in America, we've covered a lot of ground today. If you want to stay ahead of these developing stories and catch our daily deep dives into the headlines that matter, make sure to follow us on X at RantingRP. We are also dropping the show on our new YouTube channel at Ranting Politics. For the full articles, source materials, and extended coverage of these stories, head over to rantingpolitics.com. Until next time, keep questioning, keep thinking, and keep our great country free.